Well, more than ever, grandmothers are now the backbone of the nightmare childcare juggle working families face each day. But a new study warns the trend is penalising two generations of women.
More Aussie mums than ever are working outside the home. And when it comes to looking after the kids, new research shows that's mainly mum's job too. And who does she turn to for help? Her own mother.
We are still quite wedded to the idea that women are primarily the caregivers and that men are predominantly the breadwinners, even though it actually doesn't really reflect the economic and social reality inside houses.
Figures show a third of Aussie grandparents are filling in childcare gaps, but the brunt of all that free babysitting falls disproportionately on the grandmothers, yayas, nanas and grannies.
I'll suffer without my mother.
I don't want it to become too much of a habit, but I am enjoying it at the moment.
It's hard, of course. It's so invaluable.
Study authors finding two generations of women are expected to privately juggle the childcare load, all because our public system isn't up to scratch.
When grandparents are required to step in, not just for the fun and the love and the treats, but actually on a permanent basis, that is a very different proposition. It does point to the fact that early education and care is unaffordable or inaccessible.
The average Aussie family spends 16% of household budget on childcare, compared to an average of 9% across comparable countries. So it's no wonder we're relying so heavily on Nan.
When I first went back to work after having two kids, it basically wiped out my entire income.
I wouldn't have had enough money to pay for that.
The consequences go far beyond missing out on a ladies' lunch or bridge tournament. It's tightening the squeeze on our older women who already enter retirement with less super than men.
When you take extended periods out of the paid workforce to raise children, if you do that to raise grandchildren, that means you're less likely to be earning a stable income.
So, is it fair to expect our golden oldies to spend their twilight era changing nappies and playing Fortnite? Or is it time we found a new way?
My mum loves to look after my baby. She just feels that sometimes she gets a bit tired.
All the little rewards are lovely and just being a part of their life.
Well, one of Australia's most iconic grandmothers is here to give us her thoughts on all this. Would you please welcome Patti Newton? What a treat this is.
Thank you.
Tell us about your grandmother experience. How often would you have the grandkids?
Well, I don't actually have them and I don't actually live with them, but I do live around the corner, so I'm with them every day.
Whoa.
So I see them, and Lauren and I have a great relationship, and I like Matt too.
Yeah.
She's got six, your daughter.
Yeah.
She's
Pardon?
got six.
Six. Yes, 6 children.
Yeah, right.
Starting from 16 down to 4.
Whoa.
Right.
What's that like? That it must be pretty hectic having to deal with all of them, especially with all the difference in age.
You know, it's funny. People love their grandchildren, but then they grow up and they really don't want to know you.
Oh. Yes.
So
yes.
I'm still lucky. Mine are still in that age group where they're still lovely.
Yeah.
And particularly the littlies.
But Patti, you are like a gorgeous super nana. That's what we call you. And I'm actually here tonight because I called in my mum, who's 84, and that's, you know, something amazing to have in our lives. But for her, like you, it's not a labour of love because it's not a labour, it's just love.
It isn't, but then you're a bit like Lauren, where you're very close to your mum. And you're close to your mum too. I've seen you together.
And my mother-in-law.
And your mother-in-law. Okay. Well, I see Lauren a lot. And I'm there because I'm on my own. I have dinner with them every night and all of that. I do look after the kids if Lauren's got to go and pick up one of them from an activity or something, and I might go and pick up one of them from school. But, you know, I don't feel as though I'm a used-up grandmother who, you know, has to look after the children.
No, because you're also performing in Greece at night.
It's working great business.
It's a bit hard to get back when I'm in Perth or Adelaide, but we're about to go to Brisbane at the end of the year, and we do all of January there, and I always take the kids and Matt and Lauren with me for a little time.
Yeah, so they get to see that as well.
They've seen all of Australia.
That's amazing.
Because I did Mary Poppins and now I'm doing Greece, and that's our last week, and I finish on February the 2nd. I fly home on the 3rd, and I turn 80 on February the 4th.
Wow. Amazing.
So,
Amazing.
Patty, can I ask, as a grandparent, you can kind
no,
of
I
spoil...
haven't had a facelift.
You look gorgeous. You can spoil the grandkids a bit, can't you? Do you think?
Oh,
Not spoil
very
them in a
much
bad way, but
so.
treat them, you know?
Well, do you know, it's funny. Bert and I used to love having the grandkids over, and he'd be watching Maltese Falcon or one of those movies, those old movies that he loved, and he'd be so into it. And one of the little kids would come in and say, you know, that's a fidget. He's 16 now.
Wow.
But he'd come in and say, you know, hello, lols. Do you want to watch Play School? And off would go the movie and Play School would come on. And, you know, you can tell that someone really loves their child when they'll give up one of their beautiful movies that they've been dying to watch because all they wanted to do was be with them. Can I tell you a funny story? Yesterday, I've had a flood at my house.
Oh, no.
Which has been a pain in the neck, in February, and it was supposed to be all done by now. So yesterday I was on the phone to the builder and saying, you know, like it's an insurance thing.
It's always an insurance thing.
The hose burst.
Oh. Yeah, right.
And I was just flooded out. And I've got the two little ones, Elby, who's 4, and Perla, who's 5. And they're sitting there, and I'm talking to the builder, and I put down the phone. And I turned, and Perla said, "That was awkward." And then she said, "Nan, a bit embarrassing." So she's obviously hearing it from her mother.
Yeah.
It was coming out of her mother's mouth.
It's always
Not
good to
from her
find
grandmother.
It's good to find out what the parents are actually
I
doing
know,
at home
I
in that way.
know.
Hey, thanks very much for dropping by, especially in this Studio Bert.
I know.
It's just it's wonderful to be able
I
to.
feel like I'm here with Bert. He travelled with me, you know. I kissed his cross before I came on because I
And it would
didn't
have
want
been
to
your
make a
50th
fool of myself.
anniversary.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. What about... Well, this is a tough sort of time for me because he died on the 30th of October, and then we had the funeral yesterday, 3 years ago, and then it was our 50th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
So he missed that, but I'm sure he loved it. I went to see Anthony, Claire and Tim, and they were beautiful, gave me some roses because he sang the prayer at Bert's funeral. And he sang the prayer at this, and there wasn't... Lauren and I lost it totally.
I can imagine. And it was great to see his images just then. So anyway, thank you very much for dropping by, Patty. It's been
Lovely,
wonderful having you.
Patty.
Please thank Patty. Yeah, Patty, half the show's over.
Well, come up and
grandchildren
see
are
us
very
in
lucky.
Brisbane.
They are so
You think?
lucky to have you. You're a beautiful
Well,
role
you
model.
do that. Your grandchildren would be lucky. You haven't got any grandchildren, but you're still dealing with children. The only difference is...
You want to come to my house?
No, Bert always used to say, we love the grandkids, I think, more than we did our own.
Yeah.
You're getting a wind-up.
I
and
know.
I
Can I
know
just say,
that.
this has been the most amazing post-interview chat we've
You're
ever
getting
done.
the wind up.
I'm not surprised.
It is,
With my mouth, I never stop talking.
It's time for us to go to a break.